When I started on YouTube, I had all the time in the world, and now I don't. So I have to be way more efficient on filming so I can take care of my other 3 businesses. Now everything I do on YouTube has to fit into a really tiny window of time, and here's the truth. I can build an entire channel off of 4 hours a week max, and so can you. So if I had to grow a YouTube channel today with only 4 hours a week, I'd follow this exact same strategy because it's literally how I built 7-figure businesses off of YouTube. So here's the system I used. And by the way, if you want the PDF guide to this whole breakdown, comment the word guide and I'll send it over to you. All right, first of all, there's a massive list of things that I don't do on my channel. I don't edit videos, I don't create thumbnails, I don't upload content, I don't shoot B-roll, I don't add captions to the videos, I don't post clips to social media, I don't handle any admin task like scheduling or organizing the files, and I don't make every single strategy decision myself either now at this point. That entire list alone is 80% of what I handed off to other people on my team, and I did that as fast as possible. I especially never edited from day one. So what's the 20% that I do? I film, really, that's it. I show up, I get in front of the camera, I record content, I do a little bit of prep work and research, and I'll cover that in a minute. And the main point of this is now I've built this amazing team that knows what works, and they execute without me micromanaging every single detail. So a 4-hour work week with YouTube is the real deal because I don't try to do everything myself. I stay in my lane, I let the others handle really the rest of it, and this is where I think most creators really go wrong. They think that they need to be a one-person production company. They think just because you're on YouTube, you have to do everything else as well. They're filming, they're editing, they're designing, they're uploading, they're strategizing, researching all at once, and they typically burn out. And actually, YouTube just came out with a recent study that said the average creator quits after 22 videos. And of course, you may be wondering what filming actually looks like when you only have 4 hours a week, but I'm gonna walk you through that exact breakdown here in just a minute, but it's a lot simpler than you think, so stay with me. And of course, when I started, I didn't have a massive budget, okay? I didn't have this big team. I actually found Chrissy, who is still with me to this day, on Fiverr. I found her and I thought her prices were very reasonable, and I asked her, can you edit videos? And she said yes. And I said, can you design thumbnails? And she said yes. And I was like, can I teach you how to optimize videos? And she said yes. And she was there from the very beginning, handling most of that back end for me. And that's the budget I had to start out with. I started out with an editing budget, not a marketing budget, because again, I built my entire channel off of organic reach. And that's the investment I was willing to make early on. So I always had an editor, and I've never edited a single video up to this day. And 5 years ago, I mean, it wasn't that much. I mean, now it's a much bigger business. So it cost me a couple $100s a month. But really those small investments gave me back a lot of my time. They let me focus on the one thing that I could do, which was getting in front of the camera and delivering value. And if you're serious about building a channel with really limited time, you've got to accept this rule right now. I mean, you can't do everything. You've got to focus on your unique contribution and delegate the rest. Otherwise, you're going to spend your 4 hours a week editing transitions alone. I mean, if I would have had to edit any video, I probably would have quit after one video. And of course, you know, there are some rules that you have to accept if you really want this system to work, and that's the non-negotiables. And if you can't accept these, then the 4-hour work week won't really work for you. And number one is going to be no perfection. I mean, your videos don't need to be perfect. They need to be valuable and they need to be consistent. So if you're spending 30 minutes trying to tweak a transition or adjusting color grade, if you're trying to edit yourself, first of all, which I said is a no-no, you're wasting a lot of time. Good enough is really good enough, especially in the beginning. You want to get the content out there, make sure you are delivering the right information, so that is important. But second is not doing everything yourself. As I mentioned, try to think of this as the 80-20 rule, but it's worth really hammering that home. I mean, if you try to handle every single task, you'll never scale. And number 3 is you don't necessarily need to do deep dive research. Hopefully you know enough about your material. You're somewhat of an expert in your field, especially like I'm in real estate, and I know a lot already about my local neighborhoods and suburbs. So I mostly just need some bullet points to remind me of what I want to talk about. And you can do that if you want to go a little bit unscripted or if you're more of a natural person. Now, if you don't feel like you talk naturally, then you are going to want to develop a script for your videos. But you're not writing your doctoral thesis, okay? All right, you're making a YouTube video. So if you spend hours and hours researching every single fact and statistic, I mean, you're never gonna finish a video. I mean, use what you know from your experience. You need to pull from conversations you've had with clients. You need to your own personal experiences. I mean, your expertise really needs to come through. Number 4 is no start overs, okay? If you mess up, don't start the whole video over, just start the sentence over, okay? You can fix a lot of that in editing. You can clean up everything. The magic happens in the editing, and your editor should be able to make you look like a superstar, maybe even Brad Pitt, right? But even if you have a mistake or two in your video, that's okay. It makes you human. I remember a lot of times, like whenever I was doing community videos, I might trip on the sidewalk or something like that, and Chrissy thought that was funny, and she would rewind it or put it in slow motion or enhance it a little bit. You know, if I stumble over a word or something, we don't always edit out every single time I mispronounce something. If you watch any speaker on stage that's live, if you have conversations with people, if you just listen to people in general, you're gonna notice that a lot of times people naturally stumble over their words. And so what do? Do they go, oh my gosh, that's it, it's over, I gotta start, hold on, let me start from the beginning? No, they just kind of correct themselves and they move on. That's exactly what you need to do on video, because the editor can actually edit out that stumble, but even if you have 1 or 2 of those in there, it's not a big deal. And of course, I know not a lot of people like rules, might sound a little restrictive, but you know, we've actually made a system around this that is repeatable. And when you see like my day-to-day workflow here in just a minute, I mean, you'll understand why it all matters. So stay with me. And of course, number 5 is no over editing, okay? You don't need 50 cuts per minute. You don't need Mr. Beast style. I mean, he's doing a ton of cuts, like every half second to every second. You need to keep it simple, clean audio, good lighting, a clear message. I mean, that's what you really need to grow. So all of that fancy stuff, I mean, it could come later if you want to do that or have a bigger budget down the road. But the more edits and cuts you put in a video, the longer it takes to turn around as well. And number 6, of course, is consistency beats perfect every time. I mean, so a good video posted every week, that should outperform a perfect video once a month, unless you're Mark Rober. But the algorithm really rewards consistency, and your audience will reward consistency. And the last, and probably the most important, is that leverage beats effort. So don't try to work harder, you should work smarter. Literally, hire people, use tools, use AI, automate where you can. Your goal is to multiply your output without multiplying your hours. Check the description below. I use a tool called Channel Studio. It can do my tags, generate my titles, it can generate scripts for me, all at the click of a button. But you gotta be careful, because you don't just wanna take everything it gives you. You do wanna double check some stuff, but it's a great way to really manage your video and to have a lot of it done for you. But whenever I started way before AI was ever around. So I didn't have that cheat code at that time. So I had to do everything manual, and I did research quite a bit to prep my videos. But even in the beginning, I got better and faster at my research, and I was able to consolidate that within a reasonable time frame, and then I was able to still focus on more filming. And because I never edited a video, I never did much on the backside, I had somebody else doing that, it just allowed me to create more volume in the beginning. And luckily for me, I never really tried to make everything perfect in the beginning. Some people are perfectionists and they try to make every single video perfect, and that's where you get stuck. But you can't do that. But if you just reference those points that I just made earlier, that should keep you on track. But if you're really serious about building a YouTube channel to really grow your business, we're gonna be hosting a live training coming up and a live challenge. Actually, check the description below. If you wanna jump on Zoom with us live for 5 days, we'll walk you really through everything that you need to know in this process. Happy to do that, and we look forward to seeing you on there. All right, now I'm gonna walk you through my hour-by-hour workflow, which is really going to be this simple, is that every single Wednesday morning is blocked for me, period, okay? There's nothing else that's allowed during that time. No meetings, nothing. So by the time I get back from the gym, I do my regular God, goals, and gratitude, and then I do a little bit of learning on my own. Actually, Wednesday is Wisdom Wednesday for myself. Then I spend 2 hours learning something that helps me scale my business or grow my business on Wednesday mornings. And at 9 a.m., that's whenever I start the prep for my first video, and that shouldn't take more than 30 minutes, no more than an hour. Typically takes me about 30 minutes, but I'm gonna give you an hour. And really, you could even take an hour and a half, because it should only only take you about 30 minutes to film if you're doing an office video, if you have everything laid out. From 10 to 11, you film. That should only take 30 to 40 minutes for a 20-minute video. That includes some mess ups, it includes some start overs and things like that. And then from there, let me see, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, you're just gonna prep for your next video. Just get right into it. You're already in a groove. Go change your shirt, okay? Give yourself a different look. And then prep that video, and then from 12 to 1, you record your second video. And it's really that simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Find a time during the week that you can block every single week to keep you consistent, whether that's Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning like myself. That's my time. It's a non-negotiable. That's it. I block out those 4 hours. I can easily knock out 2 videos. And if I even have the team pre-prep something for me, I can knock out 4 videos, which I will do if I'm going to be going on vacation the next week or speaking at a conference, which happens to me quite often. I typically travel at least once or twice a month throughout the year. And for me, maintaining consistency is always the most important. So if I need to double up on videos before I leave that next week, that means during vacation or at a conference, I don't have to worry about filming anything. My videos are going to be scheduled, they're going to be edited and published all without me. That's the great thing. Same thing with real estate, by the way. In the real estate business over the last 5 years, I've sold over 500 homes. And you know what? I've never opened a door. I've never written a contract. And it's amazing. I'm really like a referral agent. So I've been able to sell over 500 homes without doing all of the hard stuff and all of the thing that takes a lot of time. Because if I was doing all of that, that would be cramping my style as well to record videos. Then again, some of you might be saying, okay, why does this actually work better than someone trying to grind it out 40 hours a week? Well, let me break that down for you. All right, first of all, I mean, compounding beats intensity. So you don't need to go all in for 12 hours a day. You need to show up consistently over time. 4 hours in a week for a year, that's way more powerful than 40 hours one week and then nothing else for a couple of months. So your skills improve through repetition, really not through occasional burst of effort. And that's the other thing is I've seen people try to like publish 3 or 4 videos a week for the first couple of weeks and then they burn out super fast. Now, when I started out, I did have time on my side because I was starting over. My previous business shut down because of 2020. So I had to do something different. And I also realized that I wanted to really saturate the market with my videos as fast as possible. So I just thought I'm gonna do 3 videos a week. And of course, that took me a little bit longer than the 4 hours. Now I'm back to 2 videos a week. Actually, the first 2 years, I did 3 videos every single week, like clockwork. And then the last 2 years, I went to 1 video a week, mainly because my travel schedule was so hectic because I get invited to speak everywhere, sometimes at 2 or 3 conferences a month. So podcast opportunities, speaking opportunities, it really took me out of my market. And on top of that, I travel and I take vacations. Last year, I took the family to Vegas, to Cabo, to Spain, to where else did we go? Belize. We went to Brazil. Oh my God, Brazil, of course, yeah. I knew there was another B word in there, but spent 3 weeks in Brazil, a week in Puerto Rico, 2 weeks in Spain, a week in Belize, a week in Cabo. I mean, it was amazing, you know? That was just my vacation time. And then I had a conference time that I was speaking usually twice a month, and that happened over the last couple of years. So now this year in 2025, I've still spoken at a lot of conferences, WealthCon, EXPCon, a couple of the biggest conferences this year, but I still traveled, and this year we actually went to Belize 3 times, and actually just got back from there again. But also with the market the way it is, I decided to go back to 2 videos a week for 2025 to ramp up my library because of the market. I mean, we are in a slower market, but we're still gonna do $1 million in GCI this year because I ramped that up to 2 videos a week. But I do wanna warn you, if you look at my channel, you'll see like 150 videos on there or something. I got a really good friend, Kyler, who runs the #1 Living in Houston, Texas channel. They crush it on production more than any other Houston channel. They came through the passive prospecting program and just saw Kyler at EXPCon, really good friend. And then he recommended to me to unlist some older videos. He did that on his channel and felt like he had some success around that. So I thought, that sounds interesting. And I went into my analytics and I looked at a lot of videos that didn't have views over the last 30 days or 60 days. and I unlisted quite a few of them. And my channel took a hit from that, and it's something that I deeply, deeply regret. But it's done now, and hey, look, the channel's blowing up. We're hitting all-time highs now. But if I could go back, I would never ever unlist a video, and you'll see some of the top creators that have been on the platform for 5, 10, or 15 years. They've never unlisted a video. You know, sometimes they have thousands of videos on their channel. I think every video gives you an opportunity out there to be found one way or another. Even if it gets 1 view per month, hey, that's 1 extra view that somebody is watching that content. So I don't think you should ever unlist videos unless it's way off topic. You published it by mistake. You went off the deep end. You said something completely incorrect, but you can also edit videos inside YouTube without doing that. So never unlist your videos. I think it's really bad, but I was able to recover from it. All right, number 2 is that leverage beats effort. Like I said, a team can multiply your output. So when you invest in people, even if it's a small team, you can multiply what you can produce. So 1 hour of your time filming could turn into 3 polished videos because someone else is editing, someone else is creating thumbnails, someone else is uploading and optimizing the video for you. Maybe they even create a script for you or the bullet points. So you're not working harder, you're working smarter. And that leverage is what lets you scale without adding more hours to your day. And then number 3 is that volume teaches faster than perfection. So the more videos you make, the faster you learn what works. And if you spend 2 months perfecting 1 video and you get 1 data point, if you make 8 videos in the same 2 months, or even 16 videos, then you've got 8 data points or 16 data points. So you can see which topics resonate, which thumbnails get the clicks, which styles keep people watching. I mean, I learned more from making 50 regular average videos than I ever could have learned from trying to make 5 perfect ones. And fourth, I mean, your best ideas can come after your worst. I can't tell you how many times I've made a video that I thought was average and it ended up being one of my best performers, or I've made videos where myself, the team, we were convinced this is the video that's gonna blow up, and it got 1,000 views. So it's really hard to predict what's gonna work. The only way to really find your winners is to keep making content. All right, number 5 is that consistency builds trust, right? So whenever people see that you show up every week, they start to trust you. They see you're reliable. They see you as committed, and that trust, I think, turns into business. You know, if you go to a channel and they haven't posted in a month or 2 or 3, are you gonna call them to help you out on the problem you need solving? Probably not. So this is why I say making video is really the true 4-hour work week. It's not about having unlimited time or unlimited resources. It's about focusing on the right things, on the right delegation with the team, showing up consistently. I mean, that is the formula, but understanding why it's worth the effort, especially when results don't come immediately, that's what keeps you going. And you have to look at YouTube as an investment. I mean, anytime you invest in something, there's always going to be some uncertainty. I mean, there were definitely some moments where I questioned what I was doing, if it made sense, if it was going to work. I had a lot of those questions, but now, I mean, 5 years later, it's completely life-changing. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing except maybe make more videos and definitely not unlist videos from my channel. But if you think about it, what isn't hard and what doesn't take money up front? I mean, if you're trying to flip houses, you know what you have to do. You have to buy a house, you have to put some money down, you have to have a renovation budget, and then you got to have a contingency budget, and then you got to work with people, and it takes a couple of months. But I think YouTube is by far the best thing that you can invest in. I mean, but of course everyone's different. I mean, you're working on an organic strategy, and what you see where someone may get big returns within a month or 2 months or maybe 3 months, maybe it takes you 4 or 5 months, maybe it takes you a year, but the important thing is that you don't quit. You make the commitment to give it a minimum of 12 months. And if you don't quit, you will probably see a return on YouTube. I mean, you know, is YouTube hard? I mean, maybe, yeah, sure, a little bit, but it gets easier just like everything else does. I mean, what have you ever done in the beginning that you were perfect at? Everything we do to start out is always awkward in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, 6 months down the road, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. Wow, I'm really doing this second nature. Wow, this is easier than I remember. Oh, wow, hey, I'm gonna record a video, boom, record, and I'm done, and it's great. Well, you've made it this far, so again, like I said, if you want this exact guide, go ahead and comment below and I'll send you a copy. Of course, you're more than welcome to watch this video back again. but I'll send you over the template if you comment the word guide. And of course, check the description if you want to join us on our next live challenge that will be coming up shortly. We would love to see you there. And if you want to further your education on YouTube, check out this video I did on the 6 basics that 99% of beginners overlook and why audience beats algorithm. So check out that video, and again, we hope to see you on YouTube.